What is good, everyone? Tyler here. Welcome back to another video. Web scraping is awesome, okay? We all know that. I am definitely not the Chad scraper that I'd like to be. I'm still a Virgin API user. I have some friends that are so good with web scraping tools that they're probably on some government watch lists at this point. But anyway, in this video, I just want to show a couple of simple utility functions we can use to basically scrape sites, get information we want to use. And now there's some chains from Langchain called the extraction chains that sort of help you get a better looking output. And I'll say always make sure you're looking into whether or not you can use this data for commercial purposes. Read the conditions on the website. If you're using it for research purposes, that's probably fine. Some sites probably won't even let you scrape. But anyway, we're going to use some Python, Langchain, and a language model from OpenAI to do some simple scraping and have some fun. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so there's a couple libraries we're going to need. Obviously, first of all, import your OpenAI key because I don't care what anybody says. The language models from OpenAI are just better than anything else at this point. That's just the way it is. You know, I hate that it's called OpenAI and it's not really open, but whatever. I've got the Beautiful Soup scraping library from Python, and then Playwright, which normally you use for basically testing Python applications, and it allows you to open up a browser. And then go ahead and update your Langchain, and you're going to get this create extraction chain, and I'll pull up their docs here. The extraction chain uses OpenAI functions parameters to specify a schema to extract entities from a document. So as you can see, we're going to scrape stuff, and they basically format it the way we want. So let me run that. Okay, and then I've got this little run playwright function that basically takes a URL for a website that you want to scrape, and it uses Chromium to launch a headless browser, and then pretty much everything else here I've lifted from either Beautiful Soup documentation or a Stack Overflow post, okay? And don't worry about copying this. I'll throw it up on my GitHub and you guys can find it there. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this and create this function. The first site I wanna scrape is Future Tools. Now, this is a site I think is associated with an AI YouTuber, and it pretty much has all the coolest new AI tools. So again, don't use any of this for commercial purposes, just for fun. Maybe you want to see what new tools there are every day, etc., etc. I'm not a lawyer. Read the terms of service. So what we can do is then just run Playwright and get that output. And as you'll see, it'll just be a bunch of text, pretty much the HTML contents of the website. And let's just see what's in there. And as you can see, it's grabbed a whole bunch of text here. And what we want to know from them is maybe what the name of the product is on the site and a description of what the tool does. So now we get to this cell, which is where we're going to use the create extraction chain from Langchain. I'm going to create a regular LLM with the GPT 3.5 Turbo June 13th model, pass in my API key. And then we have this new thing, structured schema, which if you go to Langchain's docs, looks a lot like what they have there. I don't know why I called it structured schema. I should have just called it schema, but basically you say sort of the things. This might remind you a lot of the function calling from OpenAI's actual API, where you basically say the sort of things that you want the language model to extract from the data. So let's go ahead and run this. And something I should say is that we're always at the mercy of OpenAI and how much load their models are under, etc., etc. So this could or could not work, but it might take a while. So I'm going to pause it, might have to rerun it, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, surprisingly, I only had to pause it for like 5 seconds, but here you can now sort of see that we've got the products and the description from the stuff from Future Tools. So let's see, Factiverse was one of the products. So let's see if we've got Factiverse. So there's Factiverse, a tool to check for mistakes, bias, controversial claims, and find credible sources. Okay, great. So we've basically scraped some stuff from there, and now we've gotten this structured output. Let's try it on a different site. What about if we want to get the top news from Hacker News? Okay, so this is actually probably one of the simplest sites to scrape. You probably don't even need to even do any of this, but this is a lot of fun, I think, to be able to sort of use a language model to sort of extract structured data and then maybe even use it for other AI things, pass it to other chains as you go along, right? So I'm going to go ahead and run this function again. The site we're going to pass in is the Hacker News homepage, and I will once again define the schema. Everything else is the same. the create extraction chain. You pass in the schema, the language model. Of course, here from Hacker News, we no longer want the name of the tool and the description like with future tools, but we want the name of the post, the number of points, and how many comments it's gotten. So as you can see, we've got the name of the article right from Hacker News, the points that the post has, and the number of comments. So I also want to go ahead and see if I can grab the URL maybe. So let's try ahead and do that. So I'm going to add one more thing here and do URL type, and that's a string. So let's see what happens when we do this. And let's just say that that's not required, but it may come sometimes. So let's run this. And hey, we got a couple results. You know, they're not all going to have them, I don't think, because I don't think that all of the posts on Hacker News actually lead somewhere. But here you can see now you've gotten the URL for a lot of the posts, which is pretty cool. What you do with this, I don't know. I can't afford to get sued. Okay, let's do it again. So let's go ahead and find some jobs, okay? Let's say you're unemployed and you're looking for a job and you just want to scrape a whole bunch of job sites without having to individually click through each one, and you want to get some structured output. So I'm going to go ahead and look for jobs in the LA area on the first page. And of course, I had to go and find Monster's main page and basically see what jobs are there. And you could click through, but we are trying to move on from that and be Chad scrapers and get all the information just given to us with a language model. So we see there's a bunch of text from Beautiful Soup. Now I'm going to run the OpenAI and Langchain code again. Nothing has changed here. I've basically just copy pasted, and I'm not doing this in a very dry way. I'm repeating myself every single time, but that's okay because we're just messing around. Okay, so there's a driver gig posted 4 days ago. There's nursing jobs and a couple of retail jobs. Very interesting. Okay, cool. So let's move on to, let's do one more. Why not? And I think this is probably something that a lot of these sort of like YouTube tools already do to get metrics about your channel. I'm not sure if YouTube actually opens up this data through API. But in any case, I'm going to go to my channel, Tyler What's Good, go to my videos, run the scraper. And then I think there's a lot I could learn from this information, right? Like what kind of videos people like, how many views certain topics get, etc., etc. So once again, all this code is the same. Create the extraction chain and then specify the properties of the schema that I want to get. So I want to get the name of the video and how many views it got, and I'm going to make those required. And you can see I've made whatever this is, 15 videos, and you can see the name of the video, how many views I've gotten. There's probably a whole bunch of other stuff we could get in here. Maybe if you messed around with Beautiful Soup enough, you could navigate to each video page and then get all the comments, things of that sort. I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of the spam bots that you see work. Anyway, I want to do one more example. And I don't know if you guys know, but there's a lot of buzz about how there's insider trading going on within our government. And you know, I'm not a tinfoil hat kind of guy, but it's very difficult to ignore how rich these people in government are getting. So I basically just want to go and scrape the financial services. Oh man, I'm probably going to regret doing this one. Anyway, I'm going to the financialservices.house.gov members site, and I want to see who's in this committee. And this could change. So really you could run this script like every couple weeks and see who's in that committee, or you could just go to the site and copy it, whatever. But that's no fun, right? So I'm going to go ahead and run our playwright Beautiful Soup function. I've now gotten the output, and then I'm going to once again run our Langchain and OpenAI structured schema code and get the name of the member and the state that they belong to. So we're actually going to find out which states do the most insider trading. Not really, we're not going to get that advanced, but at least we'll get the names of the members and which state they belong to and who is serving on this financial services committee. And then maybe over the long term, you could probably build some sort of visual data of which states have the most corrupt members of the House and the Senate. Okay, oh, here's an interesting thing that just happened. You can see why Langchain is cool because it's actually built-in retries are working. So it said OpenAI failed and the server is overloaded or not ready yet, and Langchain retried and it actually worked. So you hear a lot of stuff about Langchain being a little bit bloated and redundant, but in this case, it actually really helped. It found that the server was overloaded and it retried. I think there's some helper code that OpenAI gives you, but might as well do it with the library that we're already using, right? So here we can see the members of the Financial Services Committee. Now we're going to be keeping an eye on all of these. We've got basically the names of the members and the state that they belong to, and you can do some basic Python here and find out which states have the most members on the Financial Services Committee. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, so this part here is kind of dumb, but basically I've taken the output from the extraction chain and I've saved it to a variable called data, and it's basically just a list of dictionaries that contain the member name and the state. And again, I don't know if this is going to work or if each state gets the same number of members, because I'm an idiot and I didn't pay attention in like civics or government class. And I've created a function here called find most potentially corrupt states. Okay. And again, you can do this probably for any committee. Basically, for every item, there's a state key, and I'm looping through those and then counting basically with the Python built-in counter, which is really useful from the collections package, one of the most useful Python packages. I'm going to go ahead and run this, and this isn't going to work because I've got an error here. I don't have a comma. So let's run that again. And now I'm going to do find most potentially corrupt states and pass in the Congress member data. So Texas is the state with the most Congress people with the potential to be corrupted. I don't know anything about government. That could just be because Texas has the most people and they have the most members on that committee. I mean, it kind of makes sense that Texas has the most because it's probably one of the most populous states. Like I said, I'm really dumb. I don't know if this is right. I mean, California should also be in here. I wonder how many are in California. Let me know in the comments how stupid you think I am. But anyway, it was a good chance to write some Python. This is so stupid. Anyway, I hope you guys learned a little bit about maybe scraping and using Langchain. And it's Sunday, so I'm going to go outside. I love y'all. See you in the next one. Bye.